Well, good Saturday morning. I hope you guys had an awesome week this week. A very eventful week for a lot of us, and looking forward to talking about a few of those things. So what in the world am I doing here on Saturday morning? Well, one thing I've always wanted to do besides my product reviews and besides creating drives with beta testing and all that is to really get into talking about some of the exciting things that happened during the week in Tesla. Not just a news recap, but funny things that have happened inside of Tesla. Updates to the full self-driving system that I've seen and noticed over that week. Funny entertainment type stuff like different videos and TikTok things that came out, as well as other random topics that really caught my interest during the week. I'm not going to do this daily, just once a week to recap what's happened. So you can tune in once a week on the weekend, catch what's going on in the Tesla world, and be all set to go. Now, this one's going to be focused mostly all around the biggest news of the week, which just happened on Thursday, which are the big cuts to the Tesla pricing and what's going on with the tax credits. Now, as always, when stuff like this happens, there's always some confusion as to what's going to be happening in the future, how it's all going to apply. But fortunately for this one, there actually is a lot of clarity, and so we're going to talk about that right now. Now, if you've been waiting to buy a Tesla over the last year, 12, 13 months, you know there's been a lot of different price increases over those months. My wife and I bought our 2022 Model Y back in August 2021. That's when we put in our order for $53,990. It since then went up to $66,000, which is $12,000 more than we paid for it. And we were out there laughing like, wow, we got lucky on that timing. That is absolutely incredible. And then you look at what it's at today, and I mean, we still paid a good price, but it's nothing like today. So what are the current prices of the Teslas, and what is this tax credit and how does it work? That's what we're going to cover today, as well as a few other small miscellaneous things at the end. All right, so first up, let's talk about the pricing of the new car, starting with the Model 3. Now, the rear-wheel drive Model 3 is $39,990 today, which is down 6% from what it used to be at. The performance is down to $53,990, which is down $9,000 from its previous price of $63,000. And where it gets really crazy is with the Model Y. You can now buy the long-range Model Y for $52,990, again, down $13,000 from its high of $66,000. So you can actually go and buy the car now for $1,000 cheaper than I did back on August 18th, 2021. And on top of that, you get a $7,500 credit if you buy it today. Now, we're going to talk about that because there's kind of a catch to that you got to be aware of. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Now, the Model Y Performance model you can pick up for $59,990, which is down from its previous price of $70,000. So what has this done for Tesla? Well, one thing it has done is it's put the average sale price of Tesla's most popular and the EV's most popular selling car, the long-range Model Y, right down really close to the average sale price of any vehicle today in the United States, which is $49,507 according to the Kelley Blue Book. I mean, prices have just simply been going up for all vehicles, and now that Model Y, which used to be way out of that range, is now right there in that range with what people are paying for anyway. I used to always tell people that the Model Y, the Teslas in general, are only really cost savings if you're used to paying that for the car anyway. If you're used to going out and buying a $25,000 car, but now you're justified buying a $50,000, $60,000 Tesla because you're no longer paying for fuel and maintenance costs, well, that didn't used to make sense. But now, I mean, the average person is paying $50,000, $53,000 for a car anyway. And on top of that, you can now get an electric car, save money on that fuel and maintenance. Now it's starting to make a lot more sense. It's starting to pencil out a lot better for you. I mean, these massive prices Tesla has been charging on their cars and all these increases were because of the insane demand on their vehicles. I mean, it was a lot of cases over a year before you could even get your car if you ordered one. And now you can pretty much walk in and buy one any day you want. And right on their website, if you look at it for the Model Y long range, it even says January for picking up a car. It says January to March, but you can go in there and get a car today. You may just have to not be as picky to the exact color or be willing to wait a week. Now keep in mind that as of right now, these price cuts are just for the United States and Europe. I don't think we're seeing anything happening, at least I haven't seen anything happening outside of those areas, so let me know if I'm wrong there. But it was only a matter of time before demand was going to slow and these prices were going to have to come down eventually anyway. But in the midterm, car companies like Tesla and other companies were making a ton of money on these vehicles. Now, Tesla is kind of unique in the fact that they don't sell cars like most other vehicle companies do. So they had the ability to make this quick shift in the price where other car companies couldn't really do it that easily. The way that most car companies work is they set an average price or a suggested price, and then the dealerships would negotiate that with the consumer when they came into the dealership. But Tesla just sets the price directly on their website, and so it's nothing for them to just drop the price. There's no negotiation. When you come there, you have to pay the price that is on the website. And so when they lower the price, that's what you pay. When they increase the price, that's what you pay. But again, when you look on the website of other car dealerships, you find all about the car and stuff, but when you go to the dealer, you can still negotiate. Of course, Tesla didn't do that. So for them to move it down like they did, it is much easier for Tesla to control what price you're walking out with. So why did Tesla decide all of a sudden to drop these prices so fast? Well, it really comes down to two different things. One, Tesla really needed to stimulate the market and really get a lot more people buying their cars, getting the demand back up again. By them lowering it down to the average price of vehicles being sold, they're no longer this car that is too expensive for the average person. They were already spending that anyway. That should really help right there alone, getting more people into the cars that they want. But the second thing is obviously going to be that tax credit. Anybody out looking for an EV today is going to know about that tax credit, and if you're not able to offer that on your cars, that's going to be a really big deterrent for people. So let's break down what this tax credit is. So it comes from something called the Inflation Reduction Act. So what is this act and what does it do for you as the consumer? Well, it says that if the car you purchase and receive within a certain time frame, if it falls within a certain requirement, meets a certain criteria, you're going to get a tax credit from the IRS for $7,500. And remember, a credit is a lot different than a deduction, okay? A deduction is when you simply take your income and reduce your taxable income by that amount. So if you got a tax reduction of $10,000 a year, and say you made $100,000 a year, you'd only be paying taxes on $90,000. It's a lot less than a credit in terms of how it helps you. A credit is actually giving you $7,500, tangible physical money. So if you made $100,000 a year, you still claim $100,000 a year, but you're going to get $7,500 on top of that, like a check, physical money to help pay for things or whatever. It's an actual, it's a bigger incentive than a deduction would be. So let's take a look at the criterion here and how it affects the Model 3 and the Model Y. So first, let's take a look at the sedan. So as far as Tesla goes, what qualifies for the sedan is all of the Model 3 models, as well as the 5-seater Model Y. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? The IRS actually looks at the Model Y as two different vehicles. If you have a 7-seater, it's classed as an SUV and falls under the SUV category. And if you've ordered the 5-seater, it actually classed as a sedan. So the reason why the 7-seater qualified for the tax credits was because if you were classed as an SUV, your car had to cost no more than $80,000. So obviously the Tesla Model Y qualified for that because it was under that. But if you had a 5-seater configuration, it had to be under $55,000. So the Model 3 and the Model Y sedan vehicles, which is what they're classed as by the IRS, had to be under $55,000. And now with the reduction down to $52,990 for the long-range Model Y, it then qualifies for that tax credit. So as of this moment, meaning like right now today, if you take delivery of any Model 3 and any Model Y, you then are qualifying for that tax credit. But the reason why I say right now is there's a couple things you need to know about this and ways that you can actually screw this up. First of all, in March, the eligibility for vehicles in this program is set to change. We don't know exactly what that's going to be. It could bring down the average price of the car, needs to be lower in order to qualify. We could see simply that the qualifications stay the same, but the actual amount of credit you get is going to go down. Something's going to change in March. What you want to do is make sure you get your car by March. The other thing you need to realize that you got to have the car delivered by March, delivered in this time frame. It's not placed in the order. They don't care about that. You have to take possession of the car between now and March to qualify for what we know of right now of the program. So if you're on the fence about this and you're kind of waiting, or you've been waiting, or for whatever reason you're dragging your feet, you might want to get to the nearest dealership, look and see what kind of inventory they have, because if they don't have the one you want, you're going to want to go back weekly and start watching so you can pick up one of these cars, because other people are doing that too, and they're going to, $7,500 is massive. Imagine down 13 plus another $7.5 grand on your car. That's massive. You're now paying $8,500 less than what I paid for the car overall, net, than what I paid 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago for my car. It's pretty wild. By the way, I am curious, if you purchased a car in the last 12 months, you paid $66,000 for a long-range Model Y. How are you feeling right now, knowing that people are getting it now for $20,000 less than you paid for it or more? I feel like I'd be kind of pissed. So how does this affect Tesla itself? Now, obviously, I don't know all the ins and outs of this by any means, but when you think about the margin they used to have on these vehicles being priced as high as they were, obviously we see that shrinking. So for Tesla to keep their margins, for them to continue to be profitable on these cars, even if it's less profitable, where they're going to have to find that, I guess, is in the production of them. If they can figure out how to bring the cost of producing these cars down, they can keep those margins looking really good. And we've seen text from Elon on Twitter, or I guess message or tweets from Elon, who've talked about how the supply chain has gotten cheaper and they're able to find cost-effective ways there to keep that more profitable. So hopefully there's a lot of truth in that, and there's a lot of ways they're finding to keep that down. But as we've all seen last year and this year, not so much this year, but we've seen a lot of it last year, the stock price, of people just worried about supply demands, and now with the price cutting down like this, we're seeing that reflected in the stock. I think that people are just a little nervous about how this is going to be affecting long term. So there was this guy, what they call a madman, running around in a Tesla Model Y, beating cars with a stick. Yeah, beating them with a stick. Now, you know what? Just watch this clip on Twitter here.
In the past 24 hours since airing this video of a man swinging at a driver's vehicle on the 2 freeway, ABC7 has heard from several others who say the same thing happened to them by the same person.
It was just so random. Who does that?
I mean, my first question after I saw this and saw the heading of this was, if he was in a Honda Civic or a Ford F-150, would that have made it into the title? I wonder. You also notice he doesn't have a license plate. But I mean, check this guy out. Listen to that smack on the car. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine being in traffic, and because you recorded someone and they saw you recording them, you get your car beat like that? And would you just sit in your truck? I don't know. That guy actually looked pretty deaf. I'd probably sit in my truck too. All right, now last topic today, we'll just talk a little bit about Autopilot and some of the things I've noticed over this last week. I noticed that on the back rural farm roads, if you guys saw that video, it handled it really well. You know, when there's not a lot of people around, not a lot of decisions to be made in the car, it handles speeds very well. It makes a very nice, enjoyable ride. Stop signs, all that. Didn't have any problem with it. But I noticed this week that when we got into cities and we were dealing with multiple lanes, you got 2 lanes going forward plus a turn lane, it kept wanting to get into that turn lane and use that as a passing lane, which I had to keep disengaging. When you fast forward back like 6 months, I wasn't having any of that issue in there. So we're definitely seeing some changes in the Autopilot side of things. In terms of, like, I don't know what they're working on there or what changes they're working on, but whatever it is, it's messing with its ability to interpret the road lines and stay in the right lane and not, again, use the turn lane to try to pass people. It's kind of a weird thing. Places where I never disengaged, I'm finding myself disengaging right now. So I'm looking forward to some future updates where we're going to be able to get past that. I can't wait till we can actually take advantage of this elusive version 11 coming out, get this all together, triple stack, all that. Looking forward to that. I'm curious, are you guys noticing some of those things in your driving this past week or on the beta program? And you know what some of your experiences are this week. But I appreciate you guys watching this. And, you know, I want you guys to leave comments down below so we can chat about some of these things. I try within 24 hours, 48 hours to get back to everyone in the first couple of days. Also coming up on the channel, I got a video coming out that talks about how modifications and accessories to your car affect your warranty. We got a new table tray that came out by Teamy that we're going to be reviewing here this week as well, on top of another great tips video that I'm putting together that you guys don't want to miss. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, be sure and do that. Make sure your bell is rung so you know when a new video comes out. And of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, please do me a favor, hit that like button. That's it for this one. See you next Saturday morning.